We're incredibly grateful for your support. Before we begin today's tale, tell us, which city or country are you joining us from? We love connecting with our global audience. Now, let's dive into today's story. Chapter 1. Foundations of Sand. Ryan Salazar had built his life on 3 foundations: dedication, loyalty, and justice. For 15 years, he'd been the cornerstone of Vertex Technologies' security architecture division, transforming a small department into the company's most profitable asset. At 42, his meticulous attention to detail and uncompromising standards had earned him respect throughout the industry, everywhere except his own company's executive suite. Home was where Ryan truly invested himself. The sprawling Craftsman in Denver's Cherry Creek neighborhood represented years of careful planning with Natalie, his wife of 9 years. They'd met when Ryan consulted on her father's business security systems. Nathaniel Wright had been impressed with the serious, determined security expert and had explicitly approved when his daughter began dating Ryan 6 months later. "You're different from those trust fund playboys she usually brings around," Nathaniel had told him at their engagement party. "You understand what it means to build something with your own hands." Ryan remembered those words as he inspected the handcrafted mahogany bookcase he'd just finished for Natalie's birthday. She'd been distant lately, claimed the real estate firm where she'd started working 3 months ago was keeping her busy. He thought the bookcase might bring back some warmth to their increasingly cold home. His phone buzzed with a message from his best friend, Dominic Russo. "Big news coming Monday. VP position announcement happening at your promotion party. Director already told Burke it's yours." "Congrats, man." Ryan smiled. Finally, after 15 years of building Vertex's security division from nothing, he'd be recognized. The VP position meant everything: recognition, authority to implement his vision, and a substantial bonus that would finally let him start the private security firm he'd been planning for years. Later that evening, Natalie returned home well after dinner had gone cold. "Work again?" Ryan asked, heating a plate for her. "You know how Preston is about client satisfaction," she replied, referring to Preston Walsh, the owner of Diamond City Realty, where she'd started as a junior agent just 3 months ago. "These luxury listings don't sell themselves." Ryan nodded, studying her carefully. Her blonde hair was perfectly styled despite the hectic day, and the scent of unfamiliar cologne clung faintly to her silk blouse. "The promotion party is this Friday," Ryan said, sliding the warm dinner toward her. "Logan finally recognized what I've built for Vertex." Natalie's smile didn't reach her eyes. "That's wonderful, honey. I'm so proud of you." As Ryan turned away to wash dishes, he missed her quick glance at her phone and the text that appeared. "Did you tell him yet?" Across town, in a modern penthouse overlooking downtown Denver, Logan Burke, CEO of Vertex Technologies, poured himself another whiskey and stared at the photograph on his desk. Him and Ryan at the company's founding 15 years ago. He set down his glass and tucked the photograph into his desk drawer. "Nothing personal," he muttered, "just business." Chapter 2. Shadows and Whispers. 3 weeks before the promotion party, Ryan first noticed the pattern. Natalie's showings increasingly coincided with Logan's client meetings. Twice, he'd spotted Logan's distinctive Tesla parked 3 blocks from their favorite restaurant when Natalie claimed to be dining with clients. Ryan wasn't a jealous man, but he was observant by nature and profession. His security expertise had taught him to recognize behavioral anomalies. The signs were accumulating. Natalie's new expensive jewelry she claimed were sales incentives, her sudden password changes on all devices, and the increasingly frequent late nights. What truly triggered his suspicions was Dominic's casual comment at their weekly poker night. "Saw your wife having lunch with Logan yesterday at the Crimson," Dominic mentioned, arranging his cards. "Looked pretty intense. Company business." Ryan kept his expression neutral. Must be about the party planning. That night, he couldn't sleep. Natalie's breathing beside him seemed almost performative, too measured. When her phone chimed softly at 2 a.m., she slipped out of bed and took it to the bathroom. Ryan could hear her whispering behind the closed door. The next morning, he installed specialized tracking software on their home network, the same security measures he implemented for high-risk corporate clients. Within days, he had his confirmation. intimate messages between Natalie and Logan dating back 4 months, predating her employment at Diamond City Realty. Ryan learned that Preston Walsh, Natalie's supposed boss, was actually Logan's college roommate. The real estate position was a cover, created specifically to explain Natalie's income increases and absences. The betrayal was elaborate, calculated, and ongoing. Most damning was a conversation from the previous week. Logan, everything's arranged for Ryan's promotion party. Natalie, is it really necessary to humiliate him publicly? Logan, trust me, this way is cleaner. After I announce your promotion instead of his, he'll quit. With his pride, he'll walk rather than work under his wife. No messy firing, no severance, no competition concerns. Natalie and us? Logan, once his shares transfer to you in the divorce, we'll have controlling interest. The board won't be able to stop us. Ryan felt strangely calm as he read through their plans. 15 years of building Vertex's security division would culminate in this betrayal. His wife hadn't just been unfaithful, she'd been weaponized against him. That evening, Natalie found him preparing dinner as usual, seemingly unaware of what he'd discovered. Friday's party will be amazing, she said, kissing his cheek. Logan's really going all out. I'm sure he is, Ryan replied, his voice steady. It's not every day someone gets exactly what they deserve. Something in his tone made Natalie pause, but Ryan's warm smile dispelled her momentary concern. In his home office later that night, Ryan opened a secure folder labeled Contingency on an air-gapped computer. Years in security had taught him to prepare for worst-case scenarios. He began meticulously reviewing information he'd gathered over 15 years. Information that constituted his professional insurance policy. So that's how it's going to be, he whispered, beginning to type. Monday is going to be very interesting indeed. Chapter 3. The Party. Friday evening arrived with perfect dramatic timing. A thunderstorm rolling across Denver as guests filled Vertex Technologies' gleaming headquarters. The company had rented the entire top-floor atrium, with floor-to-ceiling windows showcasing lightning illuminating the mountain skyline. Ryan arrived alone. Natalie had texted that she'd meet him there after finishing some paperwork. He moved through the crowd with practiced ease, accepting congratulations from colleagues who'd already heard rumors about his promotion. Every handshake, every clap on the shoulder felt like another twist to the knife. These people had no idea what was actually planned. At precisely 8 o'clock, Logan Burke stepped onto the small stage at the front of the room, champagne flute in hand. His custom Italian suit and confident smile projected the image of success he'd cultivated, though Ryan knew the company had been struggling since Logan redirected resources away from Ryan's security division toward riskier ventures. If I could have everyone's attention, Logan called out, his voice carrying across the suddenly quiet room. We're here tonight to celebrate excellence and recognize the future leadership of Vertex Technologies. Ryan felt a presence beside him and turned to find Natalie, stunning in a red dress he'd never seen before. She smiled up at him, squeezing his arm affectionately for the benefit of onlookers. The VP position for our security division represents the heart of what built this company, Logan continued. This role demands innovation, dedication, and a certain adaptability to changing circumstances. Ryan watched Logan's eyes scan the crowd before landing on Natalie. A nearly imperceptible nod passed between them, which is why I'm thrilled to announce our newest Vice President of Security Architecture, Natalie Salazar. The room fell silent for a heartbeat before confused applause broke out. Colleagues turned to Ryan with bewildered expressions. Dominic, standing nearby, muttered a stunned profanity. Natalie joined our extended family just 3 months ago. Logan continued smoothly, but she's already demonstrated exceptional abilities that make her perfect for this position. She brings fresh perspective and specialized knowledge that will take us into the future. Ryan felt all eyes on him as Natalie squeezed his arm once more before walking toward the stage. The message was clear. How will he react? Moving with deliberate calm, Ryan raised his glass toward his wife and smiled. The tension in the room dissipated slightly. No scene would occur tonight. Thank you, Logan, Natalie said into the microphone. And thank you to my husband, Ryan, whose support means everything to me. She looked directly at him. I couldn't have done this without you. The double meaning wasn't lost on Ryan. He maintained his smile, raising his glass higher before taking a sip. Logan stepped forward again. Ryan, we have another announcement regarding your future with Vertex. Perhaps we could discuss it in my office? No need, Ryan replied, his voice carrying clearly. I think I understand my position perfectly. Let's celebrate Natalie's achievement tonight. Monday will be soon enough for other matters. As the awkward party continued, Ryan accepted condolences disguised as congratulations from colleagues. He played the role of supportive husband flawlessly, even joining Natalie and Logan for photos. Only Dominic recognized the cold calculation behind his friend's eyes. What are you planning? Dominic whispered when they had a moment alone. Ryan's smile never wavered. Monday is the beginning of the fiscal quarter. Seems like an appropriate time for new beginnings, don't you think? As the party wound down, Ryan approached Logan and Natalie, who were huddled in conversation. Congratulations again, he said pleasantly. I look forward to Monday's transition. He extended his hand to Logan. After a moment's hesitation, Logan shook it. Ryan, I hope you understand. She already does a lot more than you, Ryan interrupted, quoting Logan's earlier words verbatim. She deserves it. I understand completely. Then he turned and walked out into the storm, leaving confusion and unease in his wake. Behind him, Logan turned to Natalie. That was too easy. What is he planning? Natalie watched her husband's retreating figure. Nothing. He's always been passive when confronted. That's why this worked. But her voice lacked conviction. In 9 years of marriage, she had never seen the expression that had flickered across Ryan's face when he mentioned Monday. Chapter 4. The Architect. Saturday morning arrived with cruel sunshine that seemed to mock Ryan's situation. He woke alone in bed. Natalie hadn't come home. No explanation, not even a text. The final insult after last night's humiliation. But rather than anger, Ryan felt a strange sense of clarity. He made coffee and carried it to his home office, which was protected by security measures that would impress government agencies. Here, surrounded by specialized equipment and multiple monitors, Ryan activated his contingency protocols. The first step was securing his assets. Years of watching corporate betrayals had taught him to prepare for worst-case scenarios. Within an hour, he had moved substantial funds to untraceable accounts and activated legal protections that would prevent Natalie or Logan from accessing his real wealth during divorce proceedings. At precisely 10 a.m., his secure phone rang. Are you all right? Dominic asked without preamble. Better than they realize, Ryan replied. I've got more. Logan's been planning this for months. The division you built is being sold off. Papers are already drawn up. Your team will be gone within 30 days. And Natalie? Dominic hesitated. She's being given your client list and connections. They're presenting her as the true architect of your security systems to maintain client confidence. Ryan's laugh was cold. They really think it would be that easy? That I'd build something for 15 years without safeguards? What are you going to do? You remember that project I've been developing? Operation Glasshouse. Dominic whistled. The ultimate security stress test? You're going to use that against Vertex. Not against Vertex, Ryan clarified. Against the people who betrayed me. The company is just collateral damage, like I was. His friend was silent for a moment. This could get ugly. They won't just roll over. I'm counting on it, Ryan said. I need them to fight back. It's the only way to justify what happens next. After ending the call, Ryan began accessing dormant systems he'd built into Vertex's infrastructure, hidden backdoors and monitoring systems that were his insurance policy. For the next 6 hours, he gathered intelligence, company secrets, personal communications, financial records. Not just Logan's, everyone's. The board members who had rubber-stamped his removal. The executives who had known about the betrayal. What he discovered was worse than he'd imagined. The plan to oust him was merely part of a larger scheme. Logan had been systematically hollowing out the company, preparing to sell its core technologies to foreign investors through shell companies. Natalie wasn't just having an affair. She was being positioned as the perfect scapegoat once the sale went through, her sudden promotion designed to place blame on her when the inevitable investigations began. They hadn't just betrayed Ryan. They'd planned to destroy him completely, leaving him divorced, professionally disgraced, and possibly facing federal investigations. By evening, Ryan had formulated his counterstrike. It would require precision, patience, and a complete lack of mercy, all traits he'd perfected through years of engineering impenetrable security systems. The house phone rang, interrupting his planning. Natalie's voice sounded strained. "Ryan, we need to talk. About the promotion? Congratulations again." "Don't be like that," she said. "This isn't how I wanted things to go. Yet here we are." His tone remained pleasant. "When will you be home?" The pause spoke volumes. "I'm staying at a hotel tonight. I think we need some space." "With Logan?" Another pause. "We need to be adults about this, Ryan." "I couldn't agree more," he replied. "In fact, I've been thinking all day about adult solutions to our situation." "What does that mean?" "It means I'll see you Monday, Vice President Salazar. Enjoy your weekend." After hanging up, Ryan returned to his preparations. By Sunday night, everything was in place. He slept deeply for the first time in weeks, waking before dawn on Monday with perfect clarity of purpose. He dressed carefully in his best suit, ate a hearty breakfast, and drove to Vertex Technologies for the last time. The security guard greeted him with awkward sympathy. Word of Friday's events had spread throughout the company. Ryan smiled and handed him a coffee, just as he did every Monday. "Going to be an interesting day, Frank," he said pleasantly. "Sure is, Mr. Salazar," the guard replied. "For what it's worth, most folks here think you got a raw deal." Ryan nodded. "Sometimes the wrong person wins the battle. Doesn't mean they'll win the war." As he rode the elevator to the executive floor, Ryan checked his watch. In exactly 15 minutes, everything would begin. He felt a strange sense of peace as the doors opened. It was time for Monday's reckoning. Chapter 5, Dominoes Falling. By 9:15 a.m., Ryan sat calmly in his soon-to-be former office, watching events unfold on his monitors. Throughout the building, carefully timed digital dominoes were falling exactly as he'd planned. The first sign that Monday wouldn't proceed as Logan and Natalie expected came at precisely 9 a.m., when every executive's email simultaneously received an anonymous message containing a detailed dossier on Logan's foreign dealings, deals that violated both company policy and federal regulations. The source was untraceable, the information damning. At 9:05, the board members received evidence of Logan's systematic embezzlement, complete with transaction records and offshore account details. Again, untraceable. At 9:10, HR and legal departments received comprehensive documentation of Logan's pattern of workplace manipulation, including his arrangement with Natalie. Ryan's phone buzzed with a text from Dominic. "Board emergency meeting called. Logan looks like he's seen a ghost." Perfect timing. Ryan stood and straightened his tie just as Logan burst through his office door, face contorted with rage. "What did you do?" Logan demanded. Ryan smiled pleasantly. "I'm just clearing out my office, as requested. The emails, the documents, they had to come from you. That would require access I don't have," Ryan replied calmly. "Besides, I'm just a guy who wasn't good enough for VP, remember?" Logan stepped closer, lowering his voice. "This is your doing. I know it. Prove it," Ryan challenged softly. "But before you try, perhaps you should address the board members and federal investigators who just arrived in the lobby." Logan's phone began ringing insistently. He glanced at it, then back at Ryan. "This isn't over." "Actually," Ryan replied, "for you it is. But feel free to take Natalie down with you. She's as complicit as you are." As Logan rushed out, Ryan continued packing his personal items unhurriedly. His secure phone vibrated with an alert. Phase 2 was initiating automatically. Across the building, the specialized code Ryan had embedded years ago in Vertex's systems began executing its functions. Client data remained protected. Ryan would never compromise the security he'd built, but internal systems began revealing long-hidden secrets. Executive misconduct, harassment cover-ups, financial improprieties. Years of corporate sins, documented and distributed to precisely the people who would find them most objectionable. Natalie found him 30 minutes later, her carefully maintained composure cracking. "What have you done?" she demanded, closing his office door. The board is talking about criminal charges against Logan. Ryan regarded her calmly. Sounds like a company matter. Perhaps the VP of security should handle it. Stop playing games. They're saying Logan has been selling technology to foreign entities. They're saying I'm involved. Aren't you? Ryan asked mildly, placing another item in his box. It wasn't supposed to happen like this, she said, her voice dropping. No one was supposed to get hurt. Ryan's laugh was genuine. Except me, of course. I was supposed to be professionally destroyed and personally humiliated. That kind of hurt was acceptable. Ryan, please. We can fix this. It's already being fixed, he replied. Just not the way you planned. His phone buzzed again. Excuse me, I should take this. He stepped past her and answered in the hallway. Yes, Mr. Maxwell. Yes, I can meet with the board immediately. When he returned, Natalie was frantically texting Logan. The board wants to see me, Ryan informed her. Apparently, they have questions about network security protocols. Her eyes narrowed. What are you going to tell them? The truth, he said simply. That's the thing about truth, Natalie. It eventually surfaces, no matter how deeply it's buried. As he walked away, he heard her desperate call to Logan. He knows everything. We need to accelerate the contingency plan. Ryan smiled. He was counting on it. The board meeting was exactly as Ryan had anticipated. 12 grim-faced executives, desperately seeking someone to save them from the cascading crisis. They didn't care about his marriage or the betrayal. They cared about Vertex Technology's survival and their own reputations. Mr. Salazar, began Harvey Maxwell, the board chairman. You built our security architecture. What's happening to our systems? They're working perfectly, Ryan replied. Your security hasn't been breached. What you're seeing is internal information being properly routed to relevant parties. Can you stop it? I could, Ryan acknowledged. But I'm no longer employed here, as of this morning. We're prepared to rectify that situation, Maxwell said quickly. The board has unanimously voted to remove Mr. Burke as CEO and rescind all personnel changes he implemented recently, including your wife's promotion and your termination. Ryan shook his head. I'm not interested in returning to Vertex. Name your price. Another board member interjected. It's not about money, Ryan said. It's about consequences. He stood and buttoned his jacket. Gentlemen, while you figure out how to save your company, I suggest you also prepare for the SEC investigators who will arrive tomorrow morning to discuss Mr. Burke's foreign transactions. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have matters to attend to. As he left the boardroom, Ryan glimpsed Natalie and Logan in heated discussion at the end of the hallway. When they saw him, Logan stepped forward aggressively, but Natalie grabbed his arm, shaking her head in warning. Ryan smiled and nodded politely as he passed them. By noon, he had cleared out his office and handed his company key card to security. As he walked to his car, his secure phone alerted him that Logan had accessed their contingency plan, exactly as Ryan had anticipated. The real battle was just beginning. Chapter 6: Countermeasures. By Tuesday morning, Logan and Natalie had recovered enough to launch their counterattack. Ryan had expected nothing less. The first blow came at 8 a.m. when his bank accounts were frozen, a result of emergency financial orders filed by Natalie's hastily retained divorce attorney, claiming Ryan was concealing assets and preparing to flee the country. Of course, these were the accounts Ryan had deliberately left vulnerable, containing just enough money to make the action seem worthwhile. The second strike came at 10 a.m. when local news outlets received anonymous documentation suggesting Ryan had compromised client security systems during his time at Vertex. The allegations were crafted to trigger both professional suspicion and potential criminal investigation. By noon, Ryan had received calls from 3 major clients, all expressing concern about their security systems. His professional reputation, the one thing Logan correctly identified as truly important to Ryan, was under direct attack. Ryan took these calls from a small office he'd prepared months earlier, registered under a shell company that couldn't be connected to him. Dominic sat across from him, monitoring incoming information on several screens. They're playing hardball, Dominic observed as another client call ended. They're desperate, Ryan corrected, his voice calm, which makes them predictable. His phone rang again. Preston Walsh, Natalie's supposed boss at Diamond City Realty. Ryan, terrible business with Vertex. Listen, Natalie asked me to mediate. They're willing to make a deal. Drop everything in exchange for your silence about Logan's business activities. Ryan smiled thinly. Interesting offer from someone who doesn't actually employ my wife. A pause. What? Diamond City Realty. You're Logan's college roommate, not a real estate mogul. The company exists on paper, but it's just a shell for laundering funds and providing Natalie with an alibi. Did I miss anything? The line went silent for several seconds. You're making a mistake, Preston finally said, his tone hardening. They can destroy you. They already tried, Ryan replied. My turn now. After hanging up, Ryan nodded to Dominic, who pressed a key on his laptop. Across Denver, evidence of Preston Walsh's involvement in Logan's schemes was being delivered to specific law enforcement contacts. By evening, the pattern was clear. Logan and Natalie were marshaling every resource to discredit and isolate Ryan. 3 more clients called to terminate their contracts with his private security consultancy. His professional association membership was flagged for ethics review. Even his landlord received fabricated complaints about unauthorized modifications to the office space. They're thorough, Dominic noted as they tracked the escalating attacks. They're scared, Ryan corrected again, and making mistakes. He pointed to one of the monitors showing financial transactions. See that? They're accessing emergency funds from accounts they think I can't trace. But each withdrawal triggers a tracking protocol I embedded years ago. What's your next move? Dominic asked. Ryan checked his watch. In about 30 minutes, Logan will receive a call from his offshore banker, informing him that his accounts have been frozen pending international financial investigations. Natalie will discover that her separate accounts, the ones she thought I didn't know about, have similarly been flagged. And then they'll realize their contingency plan has failed, and they'll resort to their emergency option. Ryan's expression hardened. That's when we'll have them. As predicted, within the hour, Ryan's secure phone intercepted frantic communications between Logan and Natalie. Their financial safety nets were disintegrating, the investigations were gaining momentum, and their professional allies were distancing themselves rapidly. Logan, we need to use the Nightshade Protocol. Natalie, are you sure? Once we do this, there's no going back. Logan, it's our only option. He's dismantling everything. Meet me at the location in 30 minutes. Bring the drives. Ryan smiled grimly. Nightshade Protocol. They named their emergency plan after poison. How appropriate. What exactly is this protocol? Dominic asked. It's their final option. Physical evidence they've gathered to destroy not just me, but anyone who might support me, Ryan explained. Financial records, manipulated photographs, fabricated communications. They've been cultivating it for months as insurance. How do you know about it? Because I let them build it, Ryan said simply. I even helped by allowing certain confidential information to be discovered. Every piece of evidence they've gathered has been curated by me. Ryan stood and retrieved his jacket. They're meeting at Logan's lake house in Clear Creek County. Time for the final phase. As they prepare to leave, Dominic asked the question that had been troubling him. The board offered you everything. Why not take it and be done? Ryan paused at the door. Because this was never about getting my job back. This is about justice and making sure they can never do this to anyone else. The mountain roads were slick with early evening rain as they drove toward the secluded property. Ryan's expression remained impassive, but his knuckles whitened on the steering wheel as they approached their destination. You should know, he said quietly. What happens next might change how you see me. Dominic studied his friend's profile in the dim light. We've been friends for 20 years. Nothing changes that. Ryan nodded once, then turned onto the private road leading to Logan Burke's secret retreat, and the final confrontation that would determine who would ultimately pay for Monday's reckoning. Chapter 7. Glass Houses. The lake house emerged from the mist like a modernist sculpture, all glass and angular steel perched on a cliff overlooking the water. Ryan parked some distance away, in a spot he'd previously scouted that remained hidden from the house's security cameras. They're already here, he noted, pointing to 2 vehicles, Logan's Tesla and a rental car Natalie had obtained that morning. Dominic checked his watch. What's the play? First, we listen, Ryan said, removing specialized equipment from a hidden compartment in his trunk. Within minutes, he had established a connection to the house's internal systems. Another backdoor he'd installed years ago when Logan had asked him to design the home security. Through small earpieces, they could hear the conversation inside. Everything's falling apart, Natalie was saying, her voice strained. The board is cooperating with investigators. The offshore accounts are frozen, and Preston was arrested this afternoon. This was supposed to be simple, Logan snapped. You said he'd just walk away. He always did before, Natalie replied defensively. 9 years of marriage, and he never once fought back about anything important. Well, he's fighting now, Logan growled. Did you get the drives? Yes, everything's here. All the evidence we've collected, plus the fabricated materials. If we release this, it won't just destroy Ryan. It'll ruin everyone connected to him. His family, friends, colleagues. Ryan's expression remained impassive as he listened to them discuss destroying innocent lives to save themselves. Let's start with Dominic Russo, Logan decided. He's Ryan's closest ally. Once we release the evidence connecting him to financial fraud, Ryan will lose his most important supporter. Bastards, Dominic whispered. Ryan held up a hand for silence as the conversation continued. What about the other option? Natalie asked hesitantly. You mean disappearing? Logan sounded contemplative. The identities are ready, and I still have access to enough untraceable funds. We could be in Argentina by tomorrow night. What about Ryan? What about him? Logan's voice hardened. We release everything tonight, remotely. By the time he realizes what's happening, his life will be in shambles, and we'll be gone. Natalie's voice dropped so low they almost missed her next words. I never wanted it to go this far. It's too late for regrets, Logan replied coldly. It's us or him now. Ryan had heard enough. He activated another device that connected to the house's security system, bypassing the protocols with codes only he knew. Within seconds, he had complete control. Ready? He asked Dominic. His friend nodded grimly. With a few commands, Ryan triggered a complete security shutdown. Inside the house, alarms began blaring as emergency protocols activated. The steel shutters designed to protect the glass walls in case of intrusion slammed down, sealing all exits. What the hell? Logan's panicked voice came through the earpieces. The system's gone into lockdown. Override it, Natalie shouted. I can't. Someone's controlling it remotely. Ryan and Dominic approached the house calmly, reaching the front entrance just as the security system announced. Intruder protocol activated. Remote access granted to primary administrator. When they reached the door, it unlocked automatically. Ryan pushed it open to find Logan and Natalie staring in shock, surrounded by flashing security lights and blaring alarms. Good evening, Ryan said pleasantly, silencing the alarms with a gesture on his phone. Hope I'm not interrupting. How did you, Logan began. Find you? Track you? Access your security system? Ryan finished for him. I built it, remember? Just like I built the security architecture you were planning to sell to foreign buyers. Ryan, Natalie stepped forward, her voice taking on the reasonable tone she'd used throughout their marriage when manipulating him. This has gone far enough. We can all walk away from this. That's exactly what I said last Friday, Ryan replied calmly. But you were both so certain I wouldn't fight back. A costly miscalculation. Logan moved toward a desk where several hard drives were spread out. What do you want? Justice, Ryan said simply. Which starts with those drives. Dominic stepped forward to collect them, but Logan suddenly produced a gun from the desk drawer. Nobody moves, he ordered, his voice shaking slightly. I'm not going to prison because of you, Ryan. Logan, Natalie gasped. Put that away. Shut up. Logan snapped. This is your fault. He'll just walk away, you said. He's passive, you said. Ryan remained perfectly still, studying Logan with analytical calm. Interesting choice. Assault with a deadly weapon will add years to your sentence. There won't be any sentence, Logan retorted. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to restore our access to the offshore accounts, clear our names with the authorities, and then disappear. Otherwise, he gestured with the gun toward Dominic. I start by shooting your friend, then you. Self-defense during a home invasion. The security logs will back me up. The security logs that I control? Ryan asked mildly. I think not. For the first time, uncertainty flickered across Logan's face. You still don't understand what's happening, do you? Ryan continued, taking a careful step forward. Every system you rely on, the security, the finances, the evidence, I designed them all. There are no moves left on the board for you. Stay back, Logan shouted, the gun wavering. The authorities already have everything, Ryan continued, taking another step. Your foreign deals, the embezzlement, the fraud. Even if you killed us both, you'd still be finished. He's lying, Natalie interjected desperately. Logan, he's bluffing. Am I? Ryan smiled coldly. Check your phone, Logan. The news should be breaking now. Almost involuntarily, Logan glanced at his phone on the desk. The notification light was indeed blinking rapidly. That moment of distraction was all Ryan needed. With practiced precision, he closed the distance and disarmed Logan in one fluid motion, a technique from years of personal security training that Logan had always mocked as unnecessary. The gun clattered to the floor, and Dominic quickly retrieved it. Logan stumbled backward, clutching his wrist. You've ruined everything. No, Ryan corrected him. You did that yourself. I'm just ensuring you face the consequences. Outside, the sound of approaching vehicles broke the tension. Dominic checked the security camera feed on his phone. FBI, he confirmed. Right on schedule. Natalie collapsed into a chair, all pretense of control evaporating. Ryan, please. I made a mistake. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary, Ryan replied, his voice finally betraying emotion. What you did was calculated betrayal spanning months. There's a difference. As federal agents surrounded the house, Ryan deactivated the security lockdown with a final command. The steel shutters retracted, revealing the flashing lights of law enforcement vehicles through the glass walls. Glass houses, Ryan remarked to Logan as agents entered. Ironic, isn't it? You always did prefer style over substance. As agents began reading them their rights, Natalie made one last desperate appeal. Ryan, we can still fix this. For what we once had. What we had died long before Friday's party, Ryan interrupted. The difference is now I know it. He turned to leave as the agents took Logan and Natalie into custody. Outside, in the cool night air, Dominic joined him by the cliff's edge overlooking the dark water below. Is it enough? Dominic asked quietly. Ryan took a deep breath, feeling a weight lifting for the first time in weeks. It's a start. Chapter 8, Scorched Earth. 3 weeks after the arrests, Ryan sat in his attorney's office reviewing the final divorce settlement. The legal annihilation of Natalie had been swift and absolute. Her assets frozen, her reputation destroyed, her freedom at the mercy of federal prosecutors. In exchange for testimony against Logan, she might avoid the maximum sentence, but her life, as she knew it, was over. She's agreed to everything, Martin Weber, his attorney, explained. Full confession to her role in the conspiracy, complete relinquishment of all marital assets, and no contest to the divorce on grounds of infidelity and criminal activity. Ryan nodded, signing the documents without emotion. And Logan, facing 37 federal counts, plus state charges, Martin replied. His cooperation offer was rejected. He won't see daylight for decades. The company? The board has managed to stabilize Vertex Technologies, but their stock has plummeted. Several members face charges for their knowledge of Logan's activities. Martin hesitated before adding, They've approached me 3 times with offers to bring you back. Ryan laughed without humor. Not interested. The next morning, Ryan met with Dominic at their new offices, a converted warehouse in an industrial district of Denver. The space hummed with activity as technicians installed cutting-edge security systems and communications technology. Phoenix Security Solutions, Dominic read from the newly installed sign. Rising from the ashes? Something like that, Ryan agreed, surveying the operation with satisfaction. His secure phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. Was it worth destroying so many lives for your revenge? Natalie. Somehow she'd gained temporary communication privileges. Ryan considered the question seriously before responding. It wasn't revenge. It was justice. Her reply came quickly. There's a difference? Yes, revenge is personal. Justice is universal. After sending the message, Ryan blocked the number permanently. Later that day, he received an unexpected visitor, Harvey Maxwell, the former board chairman of Vertex Technologies. Impressive operation, Maxwell commented, looking around the facility. What do you want, Harvey? Ryan asked directly. To apologize for one thing, Maxwell replied, and to make you an offer. Not interested in either. Maxwell nodded as if expecting this response. Before you dismiss me completely, you should know the full scope of what happened. Logan wasn't just selling technology, he was selling access to critical infrastructure that your systems protected. The national security implications are significant. This caught Ryan's attention. Go on. Certain government agencies are concerned about vulnerabilities that may still exist. They want someone who understands the systems to help secure them. Someone they can trust. And they sent you as their messenger? Ryan asked skeptically. I volunteered, Maxwell acknowledged. Partly out of guilt, partly because I still believe in what Vertex was supposed to be. Ryan considered this information carefully. What exactly are they proposing? A private contract, extremely well-funded, with complete autonomy. Phoenix Security would become the premier cybersecurity contractor for some very important people. Why would I help the organization that betrayed me? Not for Vertex, Maxwell clarified. The company will likely be dissolved after the investigations conclude. This would be directly with the agencies concerned. Ryan's expression remained impassive, but his mind was already analyzing the strategic advantages of such an arrangement. Not for redemption or forgiveness, but for power and influence that would ensure no one could ever threaten him again. I'll consider it, he finally said. Have them contact me directly. After Maxwell left, Dominic approached with a questioning look. We taking government contracts now? He asked. We're securing our position, Ryan corrected. The best defense is a comprehensive offense. That evening, as Ryan worked late finalizing plans for Phoenix Security's first major project, he received another visitor, Frank, the security guard for Vertex who had always treated him with respect. Hope I'm not intruding, Frank said awkwardly, standing in the doorway. Not at all, Ryan replied, genuinely pleased to see him. What brings you here? Vertex is finishing layoffs tomorrow, Frank explained. After everything that happened? Well, I remember what you said that Monday morning. About the wrong person winning the battle, but not the war. Ryan smiled. Looking for a job, Frank? The older man nodded. If you're hiring. We are, Ryan confirmed. And we value loyalty above all else. As Frank left with employment paperwork, Ryan turned back to his desk, where a newspaper lay open to a business article. Vertex Technologies' collapse sends shockwaves through industry. Beside it sat an invitation to speak at a major security conference, not as a disgraced former executive, but as the founder of Phoenix Security, the rising star in cybersecurity consulting. His phone buzzed with a text from Martin Weber, final divorce decree signed by judge. It's officially over. Ryan took a deep breath. One chapter closed, another beginning. Not redemption. He wasn't interested in that. But reconstruction. Building something stronger from the ruins of betrayal. Outside his office window, the Denver skyline glittered in the darkness. Somewhere in that cityscape was a federal detention center where Natalie and Logan were spending the night in cells, their futures as confined as their present circumstances. Ryan felt no satisfaction, no joy in their suffering. Only a cool certainty that justice had been served, not by courts or laws, but by his own hand. The world had tried to break him and failed. Now it would learn to respect him. The final piece of Monday's reckoning was complete. Chapter 9. Phoenix Rising. 6 months later, Phoenix Security Solutions had become the most sought-after cybersecurity firm in the country, operating from expanded headquarters with a staff of 85 specialists, many recruited from Vertex's collapsed security division. Ryan had built something more powerful than his previous position could ever have offered. The morning news played quietly in the background as Ryan reviewed contract proposals in his office. A reporter's voice caught his attention. Former Vertex Technology CEO Logan Burke was sentenced yesterday to 27 years in federal prison for multiple counts of fraud, conspiracy, and attempted sale of sensitive technology to foreign entities. Ryan muted the broadcast. Logan's fate was no longer his concern. A knock at his door interrupted his thoughts. Dominic entered, followed by a striking woman with shrewd eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor. "Ryan, this is Sofia Vega, the government liaison I mentioned," Dominic introduced. Ryan stood to shake her hand. "Ms. Vega." "Mr. Salazar," she replied with a firm grip. "Your reputation precedes you." "Does it?" he asked mildly. "Good or bad?" "Impressive," she answered candidly. "Though some would say ruthless." "I prefer thorough," Ryan countered with a slight smile. After Dominic left them to talk, Sofia got straight to business. "The agency I represent has been monitoring your work with considerable interest. The security protocols you've implemented for critical infrastructure have proven remarkably effective." "That's what we do," Ryan said simply. "What interests us more," Sofia continued, "is how comprehensively you dismantled your previous company while protecting its essential security frameworks. A surgical strike rather than indiscriminate destruction." Ryan studied her carefully. "You're not just here about contracts, are you?" "Perceptive," she acknowledged. "We're dealing with a situation that requires your particular approach. A private contractor has compromised several government systems. Conventional methods have failed to neutralize the threat. And you want Phoenix to handle it. We want you, specifically," Sofia clarified. "With your team's support, of course." Ryan leaned back, considering the implications. "This would be completely off the books, I assume." "Necessarily so," she confirmed. "The political complications are significant." "Why me?" Sofia's expression remained professional, but her eyes held a knowing look. "Because you understand that some problems can't be solved within the system. Sometimes the system itself is the problem." The irony wasn't lost on Ryan. 6 months ago, he'd been the victim of systematic betrayal. Now he was being recruited as the solution to a similar threat, because of how thoroughly he'd destroyed those who had wronged him. "I'll need complete autonomy and access," he stated, making his decision. "Already approved at the highest levels," Sofia assured him, sliding a secure tablet across the desk with details. As Ryan reviewed the information, he felt a familiar clarity settling over him. The same focused purpose that had guided him through Monday's reckoning. Later that afternoon, Ryan visited a small cafe in downtown Denver for a rare personal meeting. Across the table sat Nathaniel Wright, Natalie's father. "Thank you for seeing me," the older man said, his once commanding presence diminished by recent events. "You said it was important," Ryan replied neutrally. Nathaniel nodded, his fingers tracing the rim of his untouched coffee cup. "I wanted to apologize for my daughter's actions, for not raising her better." Ryan studied his former father-in-law with detached interest. The man had lost everything in the aftermath, his business connections severed, his reputation tarnished by association. "Natalie made her own choices," Ryan finally said. "She sent me a letter from prison," Nathaniel continued. "Asked me to give you a message." "I'm not interested." "She said you might say that." The older man sighed. "The message was simple. I understand the difference now." Ryan's expression remained impassive, but inwardly, he acknowledged the significance. Justice versus revenge. She'd finally learned the distinction. "Is there anything I can do?" Nathaniel asked quietly. "To make amends?" Ryan considered the broken man before him, another casualty of choices he hadn't made. "Live with the consequences," he answered, not unkindly. "That's what we all have to do." As they parted, Nathaniel hesitantly offered his hand. After a moment, Ryan shook it, not in forgiveness, but in recognition of a chapter conclusively closed. That evening, Ryan stood on the rooftop terrace of his new penthouse overlooking the city. Denver sprawled below him, lights glimmering like opportunities waiting to be seized. His phone buzzed with a message from Sofia. "Contract approved. We begin tomorrow." A different man might have felt satisfaction, even triumph. Ryan felt only the cool certainty of purpose. The betrayal that had nearly destroyed him had instead forged something stronger, Not just a new company or position, but a new self. Unyielding, uncompromising, and absolutely clear about the distinction between justice and mercy. His secure phone rang, Dominic calling from the office. "Everything set for tomorrow?" Ryan asked. "All systems ready," Dominic confirmed. "The team's prepared. This contract will put Phoenix on an entirely new level." "Good." Ryan watched as a storm gathered on the distant horizon, lightning illuminating the mountain silhouettes. "Remind everyone, no mistakes, no hesitation, no compromise. Just like Monday," Dominic asked, referencing what had become their private shorthand for absolute precision. "Exactly like Monday," Ryan confirmed. "But this time, we're not responding to betrayal. We're preventing it." As the call ended, Ryan reflected on the journey from that Friday party 6 months ago to this moment. The humiliation and betrayal had been meant to destroy him, to render him powerless and disgraced. Instead, it had stripped away everything except his core strength, revealing a truth his enemies had fatally underestimated. Some men aren't broken by betrayal. They're completed by it. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new adversaries, new battles. But the lesson of Monday's reckoning remained constant and clear. Power wasn't in position or title or wealth, but in preparation, precision, and the absolute refusal to forgive those who betrayed you. Ryan Salazar turned from the coming storm and went inside, ready for whatever the morning would bring. After all, every day was Monday now, and Monday belonged to him. And there you have it. Another story comes to an end. What did you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy this story, consider joining our community by subscribing. It means the world to us. For more stories like this one, check out the recommended videos on screen, and I'll see you there.